You made it.
Yeah.
No, it's been a crazy day for you.
Huh?
It's been a crazy day for you.
Yeah, Dave, Jordan's not gonna be able to make it. He has to do a title.
Oh, fine. All right. So Marcus is all online, so he'll be ready at between 1:30 and 1:40. Whenever we're ready for him,
Okay.
he's ready. And so it's gonna be the focus is gonna be minority focus and
Good. Do you have the energy for this book? I don't have it today. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm move that chair. That chair. I had saw it earlier, and I hadn't checked.
Oh, that woke me right on up. Yeah. It's not that long. No, fast. It's what, 45 minutes?
What's 45?
Yeah, I'm in insurance program. I don't know where you. So.
Yeah, I didn't. All I know is it's across the bridge, across both the Bay Bridge and the Seven River Bridge, and then it's not all in Cambridge, but it's almost in Cambridge.
Queen Anne.
What's the county we cross right over Seven River Bridge?
Really? That's what I'm thinking.
I am not
I
coming.
see you leaving one thing. I was going. That's why. That was fun.
All right, we'll get Jordan to say.
Hello. I believe.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna have on the agenda.
Want me to do it?
No, I got it. 'Cause I need my-
Okay. I'm going to tag team for Brandon because I want to be conscious of everyone's time. And I'll start with the welcome. We're going to have a guest speaker coming in at around 1:30, 1:40 for the agenda. We're going to use our technology and we're having him come in through Google Chat, I believe it is, or Skype. I'm not sure which one.
Google Hangouts.
Say Google Hangout, right? Okay. I was because I use them all, so I'm like, which one? And Brandon's really good and stuff too. So, anywho, welcome to our our third, maybe fourth meeting of the semester. As always, we're excited to join you, and we're going to start by introducing our. And we'll ask that you introduce yourselves. We'll go with that as I'm looking at your office.
I know, right here. Right here. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Colbert. I'm the Assistant Director of Power Pride. This is my beginning of the second week here, full week, and so I'm excited. I've met a lot of great people here already. So I'm looking forward to everything that we're doing and moving forward in that direction. Pleasure. I'm right here outside this room. My office, literally. So please feel free to stop by, and I hope to make it over to you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other new members? We're all seasoned at this point. Huh? All right. As we're waiting for Brandon, I know he wants us to do an icebreaker. You know that's our theme this year. We want to continue to, build a team and get to know each other and have that sort of break away from the monotony of our emails and work. And so with that being said, we're going to do an icebreaker. Perfect time. Oh, we did our introduction.
Oh, perfect.
I kept it moving.
All right, cool. So today's icebreaker is called It's a Lie. Has anyone played it before? Anyone know what I'm about to do? All right. So participants need to share at least 3 things about themselves. One of them has to be a lie. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to put the blue tape under the chairs for you today. So, because I don't want everyone to participate. Like, I want everyone to participate, I don't need one to share. So, you're going to be pointed out if I want you to share. Some examples of things you can use are activities, hobbies, things that may not be easily known about you. So, for example, you may say something like, I swam with a dolphin, I lived in Costa Rica, and I met the President of the United States. And it's the job of the people in the room to figure out which statement is a lie. As the person sharing your lie, your statement, your truth in your lies, you can also use lies to answer the questions that people are asking for you. All right? So for example, if you ask me a question, so if a kid asks me, okay, Brandon, what part of Costa Rica did you live in? I can use more lies to answer the same question.
Okay.
And it's the job of the room to figure out which one's the truth, which one's a lie. So who wants to be a volunteer for this activity first?
And what did you say? It's 2?
2 truths and 1 lie.
Okay.
Anybody? I mean, I'll go first. I went to Iowa State University. I lived in the District of Columbia. And I drive a Honda. Anybody? You want to try?
I know you live in DC.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in DC too.
I drive a Honda.
Because that can give
I mean, it's possible I drive a Honda.
I don't think you go down to the state.
Anybody? Anyone else?
I know.
All right.
The lie is you drive Honda.
That's great. I do not drive a Honda. I drive a Volkswagen named Claire. Yeah, some of this one. So who wants to try?
I drive a BMW. I live in the Philippines and I have 2 children.
Live in the Philippines alive.
No, I live in the Philippines. 4 years. Oh, 2 children is a lie.
Who's up next? And when you go, make sure you tell us who you are when you go so that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'll go. I am half deaf. I'm from Orange County, and I've been to Paris.
What was the last one?
I've been to Paris.
Is it Orange County?
Mm-hmm.
Orange County,
California.
California, Orange County, New Jersey.
So I left that blank, but no, I'm from Orange County, Virginia.
Oh.
So that, I guess I try to leave that. That's kind of halfway true, half a lie. But that was my lie. I'm half deaf and I have been to Paris.
Wow.
Anyone else? No one wants to try? This is a non-threatening activity.
I have 6 children, 10 grandchildren. I've been to Africa, and I do photography.
Is that the truth or a lie?
No.
I know you got daughters.
Okay, it's a lie.
Anybody else want to try?
I have 7.
Wow.
Okay,
Wait,
so
how
how-
many children do you have?
Yeah, how many children?
I have 3.
Anybody else? No one else wants to try? Is this icebreaker? It's an opportunity for you to just break the ice a little bit. No one?
I have 2 children. I work part-time. And I have a bridal gown business. For 189.
Where's your money now?
The bridal.
Oh.
Not really.
It's rolling
All right, the reason why I wanted to use this icebreaker, and the reason why we're gonna continue doing icebreakers throughout our meetings, is because we want people to know a little more about us, about our differences. The fact that I use the two truths and a lie is because sometimes the lies actually share something that we really want to do. Like for example, I really do want to own a Honda because they're a lot less expensive to repair compared to my Volkswagen. But the goal is to show that, we as a community, we are a very diverse group of individuals, that we represent the different facets of what the college represents for diversity. So age, gender, racial and ethnicity groups, ability and disability, religious background, and more. So we want to continue doing that. So you'll see us come up with different types of icebreakers. If you have suggestions for activities to do as an icebreaker, let us know. You can lead it because, again, this is not about the co-chairs leading a meeting. This is our meeting. So anything you want to do, let us know. We will do something. So, John, did you introduce yourself, right? Did you want to talk a little about Howard Pride before I move on to the next part?
So I'm not sure, most of you probably know more about Howard Pride. But it's an amazing program designed for African American males here at HCC. We're looking to develop them with leadership skills, hoping to retain them, hoping to matriculate them through, and also into 4-year education. We have a program coming up, which is on the board here, How to Become a Gentleman. I'm really excited about it. I don't know if you guys know Sean Lamb. He also works for my team. He created this amazing tie that we're going to give our students who've been participatory and who are also doing well through the program. So please stop by. We're really excited. We have the Assistant State's Attorney coming to speak with them. So it's exciting.
And how many people are in the program?
So yeah, that's a good number. I think we just sent that over to you. 107? Yeah, I think 107 is the number.
Awesome. I realized that the projector is about to turn off on me. Come on. All right. So next up is our subcommittee updates. So Heather, you want to talk about Diversity Week?
They are doing really well. Did you get the?
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up.
We had a meeting, our committee meeting this week, and I believe they were the meeting.
The minutes weren't put up yet,
Oh, okay,
but when they are put up on campus, I'll put them up on the portal for us.
okay. Just to give you a recap of what the minute says, Henderson Hess, she reported on STEM and the diversity events held during the week of diversity week. Rihanna presented on bringing students and faculty together, on offering an event bringing students and faculty together, exploring where America is with respect to race relations, almost 1 year after the Baltimore riots and the Black Lives Matter movement. And Evelyn Del Brasorio, who worked with Rihanna to organize those events. Is everyone hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay. Zakia reported that she reached out to Marie Rastero, giving the request for diversity credit, and they are discussing the Diversity Women's History Film Festival. Brandon reported a lot, so I won't go through everything, but to sum it up, we have $300 available for an additional event. So that is, I believe you want to put that towards an event and not food.
Correct.
One thing I suggested that we do, I told everyone who was at the meeting, is that Donna Jones, who is the director of the photography area, we're trying to get her, and I did contact her, and she is interested in having a artwork of students and staff around DH 100 which is in reference to diversity around the room when different events are being shown. So that's something that we're working on. We're working on many different things, and Mary Ann Carroll, who is my co-chair, she's really very gung-ho about making this a success. We tried to get Congressman Cummings to come, but that did not work because of the status quo. So we're basically on the road. We do have a spreadsheet that, is that it? Okay, that details what events we have, and that would be on campus.
And it's in the portal under our meeting minutes for today also.
Oh, good. So that would tell you what events are happening in what room, like DH100 Montebello and whatnot. Okay, so if you want to see the events, the current events that we have lined up, that's what you will give you a information.
Do you have any updates on marketing and outcoming and just sort of?
I spoke with her today to find out if she had any ideas. And
Okay.
she doesn't. Yeah, you have to yeah. So yeah, she hasn't doesn't have any ideas or anything. But I'm still trying different avenues to see if we can get. Diane Shoemaker, she is going to be our keynote speaker. And she's also presenting a woman in athletics session. Diane is really a good speaker. She's very dynamic. We feel she would get people involved. So, okay.
Thank you. So next up, our plan review and reports. So the diversity bylaws were submitted to Dr. Hetherington for her review. She sent us back some comments last Thursday. We got them back to her Saturday evening, and they were presented to the president's team today. So if it makes it through the president's team meeting, which hopefully should have ended by now, they will be sent to the board of trustees for their final review. A few of the changes that were made in the bylaws, and they are uploaded on the portal.
And they were also sent out to the team. I thought that was really helpful to send it out to the team so that we got everyone's feedback. And we actually did get some really good feedback from folks. I don't know if that was done in the past, but I automatically thought it was imperative that we do that, and it really helped.
The only things that were changed since we sent it out and uploaded last time were Dr. Hetherington and the College Council asked, why did we only see 2 administrative employees when in every other constituent group, except for students, were 1 administrative employee. We didn't really understand the rationale behind why we assumed, based on the fact that our ex officios were all administrative employees, that there would be a slight imbalance. But to appease the College Council and just to move forward, we did make it even, but we are going to encourage chairs in the future to actively manage the balance of support staff, professional, technical, and administrative employees, especially when we deal with the at-large employees, because by our bylaws, we only need to have 13 actual members. I know it's a very small committee, but our goal is to actually make sure it's larger, but by bylaws for that. Additionally, we struck out the fact that the chairs should not serve concurrently. We would like for them not to serve concurrently so that there is continuity, but we know that in the last few years, because of, let's say a chair had to step away in the middle of the year, and we end up making them concurrent terms. And so it was recommended not only from members of the committee that we were working with, but also from Kate to strike that out. And then we also added that there is no quorum needed for a meeting, but there will be a quorum needed for voting. And that's a minimum of 7 members based on the statutory number or 1/2 of the current membership. So based on current membership, we need to have 13 members in a meeting to have a quorum to vote on things that we need to vote on. So that's how that balanced out. Those are the changes. So hopefully the board will approve those. So if we get that approved, you will see those not only on our cross-functional team site, but in our portal and also in the college policies.
And even if you did not get a chance to review it, I would encourage you to do so. Some of the feedback that I received via emails that I really learned a lot more about what this diversity committee is all about and the priorities that the college has to diversity through that. So if you have some free time, when you're not so busy, feel free to do that.
So, with training, we're still, in regards to training, we're still working on some things, training for the committee itself. Today, we're going to have a presentation from one of my colleagues, Marcus Glenn. We're talking about minorities in agriculture, specifically undergraduate research. So we'll pop them in just a second because I'm actually slightly early on time. So I'm going to skip ahead to something else and then let him have the balance of time for the meeting. So for our updates, our next upcoming events that we have, if you look at the diversity calendar, you'll see all the events that we have claimed for diversity credit. So that's always updated. So thank you, Nusha, for doing that, because that's the only way I know what's actually happening on campus.
And there's a lot of events on it right now.
Yes. Thank you for everyone who is actively responding to the polls that Nusha puts out. Those are very important because if we don't do that, our colleagues around the college won't have diversity credit in time for evaluations. We have on this Friday, the Maryland Community College Diversity Roundtable meeting at Chesapeake College. If anyone wants to attend, please see me because you can ride out to Chesapeake. You're not riding with me because I'm coming from DC, remember that? But if you are interested, let us know. We will post on the portal what Dr. Felton shared with the current members of the roundtable about what the past history of it was. It started at Frederick Community College in 2005, and apparently there's some things before that point, but this was the last time it was started. And it fell off, but they're trying to bring it back again. We are not an affinity group under MAC. We're still trying to discern what do we want our goal to be. There's some people who think that we should be an affinity group. Some individuals believe that we need to be independent, and we're going to work through that. I want to remind you that
what are your thoughts on that, actually? I'm sorry.
That's so in the business part of every meeting, as that's part of the discussion will be discerning what we want to do. While we were at Prince George's last month, there was a lively discussion about that because
and apparently there was an even more livelier discussion the session before that, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because for example, there is a Washington Regional Diversity Task Force, which is completely independent. It's made up of both your four-year institutions, some private sector, and then also community colleges. And so they're independent. They have their membership dues, all of that. But then most of us in the room felt that for community college, we do have some things that are different than our four-year partners, that we should make sure that this is a community college roundtable. But in the sense of an affinity group or not, if we make an affinity group, how do we deal with membership? Do we want to go through the reporting structure that MAC requires of all affinity groups? I know for advising affinity, we have to provide reports every year to MAC that goes to the our board of directors for MAC. But for transfer affinity, which is a sub-affinity group of the advising affinity group, we don't have to do any of that. We meet once, we talk about transfer issues, we yell at our four-year partners because if you come to that meeting, but we don't have to report about it. So we're still discerning through that. So that's right.
Probably have to be benchmarking as well. We have to benchmark the institution. Probably say that turning it well, but that means that's some responsibility for chairs.
One of the issues is the fact that not all 16 community colleges are part of the roundtable right now. It's basically ones essentially in the Washington region plus Chesapeake. I don't remember if Warwick on that list or not, but the further ones aren't. And even with our affinity groups, you rarely see our very far community colleges participate in our advising affinity group, even though they're doing some great things on the far eastern shore and far western Maryland.
Another piece to that is they're asking for folks to host the roundtable, and I actually passed that on to Farida and Dr. Hetherington, and they approved us to host one of the roundtables at either Gateway or Mount Airy. And so we're looking at doing either the April date think there's a possible May date. There's a March one, but because that's my diversity week, it said that probably wouldn't be an advantageous for us to do that. So I'll keep you guys posted on which date we select. It'll most likely be the April date, unless, you know, folks are, you know, concerned about that. And I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to do that. I know it was done last year, and it was a great, it was my first meeting, my first roundtable, and it was great. So I think we'd love to do that again.
So, next up, I'm gonna have Marcus. We're gonna pop him on the screen. So the reason why I wanted to talk about diversity in undergraduate research was because as an advisor, and we've been working with, let's make sure Marcus is still there. Marcus, you there? Marcus, can you hear me?
Yep, I've been hearing. I've been listening.
Awesome. Okay, so the reason I want to talk about undergraduate diversity in undergraduate research, specifically agriculture, as an advisor, we're trying to get students to transfer, graduate and transfer, go to different places, and one of our favorite transfer schools for students is the University of Maryland College Park. How many people know that? Y'all know College Park for people on the go? For a lot of programs, they're limited enrollment, and so when we are advising students, and they're like, oh my God, I've never done research, I've never done an internship, I've not done these things, and the LEP programs are looking for those types of experiences. And so it got me thinking, I'm like, who do I know I can talk about this? How can we connect this back to diversity? And I was working with a student just a few weeks ago talking about some research, because that was one of my first ways in understanding about what I want to do with my experiences. And I did the Committee on Institutional Cooperation Summer Research Opportunity for Minority Students at University of Illinois. And the majority of the Big Ten schools participate in this program. College Park just started the SRP program. And I was like, who do I know? And I popped up, and I was like, Marcus, because Marcus, while we were at Iowa State together, he was the coordinator of the George Washington Carver Summer Research Program, and that was a program specifically for STEM students in agriculture. So, with no further ado, I'll let Marcus introduce himself, and I'll make you full screen.
Okay, thank you. Brandon, thank you for having me speak to you guys, to this group. Thank y'all for joining us during this time. And I was listening throughout the course of the meeting, and so I guess I'm going to go ahead and start off with two lies and a truth. I grew up on a farm. I went to Prairie View A&M University, and I attended Iowa State University. Anybody want to guess which one is the lie?
Grew up on a farm.
Absolutely right. I grew up in urban Houston, Texas, the furthest thing away from a farm, but yet I wound up in agriculture in some shape, form, or fashion, thanks to Prairie View A&M University as well as Iowa State Universities. So let's just jump into it. So pretty much what I did at Iowa State was I was a graduate assistant who ran the George Washington Carver internship program. And like Brandon said, it was a summer research program focused on trying to increase the amount of diversity that we had in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences there. How many of you guys have heard of or seen or know about summer research programs? Just by a quick show of hands. I see one, I see two hands. Okay. Has anybody participated in any summer research programs? One person? Okay, that's fine. And I'm going to keep picking at this one young lady in the back. No, yeah, I see you turning your head. Yeah, you. No, not you. Not right up in the front with the blue jean, but right behind her to the right of me. Where was the summer research program at that you participated in? University of Chicago. Okay, you see, they did a lot of big stuff. And what was the research that you participated in?
I was actually not in the sciences, but in literature.
In literature. Very interesting. Are you an English major, or were you an English major?
I was.
Good deal. We need people like you. Despite what all the research says and everybody's saying, oh, we need to push towards STEM. No, we still need people like you, because if not, without people like you, none of these STEM people would actually be able to write or put together any type of sentence or do anything meaningful. So need people like you. What was the outcome from you participating in that type of summer research program?
I actually went to UC for grad school.
So it worked as a recruitment tool for them to get you there. Okay. And in your role currently now, are you an advisor or are you working with a certain group of students, or what's your role?
I'm an advisor, but I did teach writing.
So you're an advisor as well as teaching writing. In some of your advising, did you ever bring up or suggest to some of your students about participating in a summer research program?
I've done talk about internship, but they need to talk to the places that they're thinking of transferring to and find out.
To those schools. Okay, that's perfect. And so pretty much that's all I want to talk to you guys about for about 15 minutes or so, and then open up to questions. And I know I hate sitting inside of a presentation and having a person just lecture to me and read to me. I'm an adult, I can read. Don't really need you to do that. But what I want to do is really engage in a conversation with you guys. Engage in a conversation as far as how it is summer research type of programs or undergraduate research programs can help increase diversity in higher education. So let me go ahead and pull up the presentation and we'll kind of jump straight into it. So increasing diversity through research programs. And you can stop me at any point in time to ask questions or what have you. Doesn't matter. So this is just a brief history of undergraduate research programs in the United States. Started at Michigan Institute of Technology, MIT, in 1969. And summer research programs and REUs, or research experiences for undergraduates, really began to receive federal funding through the National Science Foundation. And so those funds were more or less offered in the forms of grants and distributed to different consortiums of universities or different groups of universities that had a particular interest as far as increasing the number of diversity or just providing these type of opportunities to students who typically would not have them. Okay. So the purpose of any undergraduate research opportunity, for the most part, was that a question?
No, we're good.
Oh, okay. The research experience is to provide some type of mentoring to go on and really try to include and encourage these students who are participating to consider a life in the academy or to just go on and pursue some type of post baccalaureate education. So really trying to get them to go into graduate school. Second one is introduce underrepresented students to the research process and recruitment into graduate school. While your students are not at a four-year university right now, but what this can do is go ahead and introduce them possibly to attending a four-year university. I heard Brandon say that most of the school or most of the kids that you have are really going to the University of Maryland College Park. So trying to introduce them to a research program that is tied to their field of study that's at the University of Maryland College Park is going to help them out in making that transition from going from a community college into that four-year university. Need for UROPs. Urgency in higher education to increase the number of minority students receiving advanced degrees. And I kind of want to break away, from that for a moment and just see a quick show of hands. Do y'all see any type of utility as far as your students participating in these types of programs?
I think, if anything, just learning those basic skills of research and writing and just the basic skills needed to succeed at a four-year institution are advantageous for our student populations here.
Right.
Unfortunately, there are times when, as much as our faculty and advisors and anyone who touches them, do above and beyond to help them succeed, those skills may not be adequate for a four-year institution experience. And so something like this could really help them and also just expose them to opportunities. And I know for me, as a TRIO alum, just being exposed was enough to say, oh, wow, I really need to step up my game. Oh, I'm really not as prepared as I thought I was.
Right.
And that, if anything, could be advantageous for them.
Okay, and so Trio, I'm glad that you said that. I didn't put anything in here about Trio, but I fell in love with Trio when looking at the legislation they created in 1965 as far as how it's been, I really want to say an invaluable resource as far as providing underrepresented and students of color, just like you said, opportunities to see where it is that they are and to kind of gauge their readiness. So pretty much these undergraduate research opportunities are really born from TRIO. They're really born from the civil rights movement and that whole push of the war on poverty that LBJ introduced. So this is really where it's come to. I've also worked at a community college, more or less in an advising role, and you guys are probably seeing it as well. A lot of students that come through your doors, they are not ready by any far stretch of the imagination to go into a four-year university. And if a community college was not available to them, they would really be out on the streets or just trying to figure out what it is that they're going to do with their life. So I think that these types of programs do provide some type of utility. So the next 3 slides are really questions to go ahead and start this dialogue about where it is that we can go. So I already asked the first question: how many of you participated in undergraduate research opportunity programs? And I saw a couple people raise their hand. Let me ask the flip side of that question: why didn't others participate in these programs? Was it because of a lack of knowledge or a lack of awareness, or you might have already been focused on something else? Don't be shy, please. I'm a couple thousand miles away. I'm in Texas. There's no way possible that I can jump through the computer and actually attack anyone. I think that this is a fairly safe place.
Well, I'll break the ice and say, for me, I did not participate in undergrad simply because, one, I think lack of knowledge, and truthfully, and this is why I went into higher ed, my first year, I was just trying to make it through.
Right.
And pretty much begged to stay on campus because I struggled extensively my first year. And so I didn't really learn about research until maybe my second or third year by way of a professor in Black American Studies. He said, you're going to do an independent study over the summer, and that's that. And I said, okay, I guess I am. But if it wasn't for him, I would not have been exposed to that. But my first year or so, I was really, honestly, for me, just trying to survive.
Okay. But I see where you were trying to survive, and I want the larger group to kind of think about this. In that mind frame of trying to survive, had this type of opportunity been open to you as a bridge student, possibly from high school into that first year, and then you being supported or being surrounded possibly by a learning community, that probably would have made your transition a little bit easier, to where that first year you wouldn't have been struggling as much, but yet just going ahead and really going and moving with the flow, and learning from your peers in that type of manner.
And I probably would have found something just through that experience that
Right.
was about, because I was really just doing what I had to in a major that I really didn't even like.
Didn't care about. Yeah, I was there. Trust me, I was there. I was an engineering major. Never wanted to use the degree. I only was doing it more or less as a backup plan in case that whole thing called education and teaching didn't come through for me. Hey, I can go make some money. Yeah, that didn't work out. I wound up as an agriculture major. And the way in which I wound up at Iowa State was because I was doing research for summer research, or I was trying to find summer research programs for friends of mine to attend and participate in. And I just stumbled upon Iowa State, and that wound up leading to an assistantship. Okay. So for the next question, I would like some other folks in the group to kind of chime in. How many of you would like to utilize undergraduate research programs as a tool? And really, let's look at this as you guys are, or we are heroes or carpenters or any type of tradesman. And being any type of tradesman, you have to have different types of tools in your toolbox to go ahead and fix or work on the problem that it is that you're addressing. So how many of you guys would actually think about utilizing this tool of undergraduate research programs to help one of those deserving kids that you know, if given just a little bit of opportunity, could go about and do great things, or just being provided a little bit of exposure will be able to go out and possibly change the world? Crickets.
Marcus, can you ask the question again?
Okay, question again. How many of you guys, now knowing about undergraduate research programs, would like to have this as a tool in your toolbox to go ahead and share this type of information with kids that you come in contact with, or with students that you come in contact with?
We got 1, 2, 3. Anyone else? 4. I know you can't see the other side of the room, Marcus.
That's fine. So a couple of you guys. Okay. Well, that moves into the next question. How can programs like these actually help your students? We heard a first-hand testimony as far as what, actually 2 first-hand testimonies as far as what it is that these programs provided. But I'm not sure about the demographics of your area or what type of situations your students are coming from. So just think about some of the students that you come into contact with. How would this type of program be able to help that student out? Susan.
No thoughts? Well, I'll say this for my student, Marcus. I have a couple students who are in our STEM Scholars Program, so they are exposed to, you know, problem-based learning in their STEM seminar, and for them, they're reaching 60 credits. They have above a 3.5. So my conversation is not about, you know, transfer, because I know you're going to transfer. It's about
Right.
what you're going to do after you finish that bachelor's degree.
Right.
And when I approached 6th grade becoming a junior, that was the year I did my first summer research internship. So it's like, let's make my students remember, you're almost at a 4-year institution, but if you were at that 4-year, you have actually been doing research. Sometimes in your sophomore year, we had a student last year who did an NIH research internship in leaving their freshman year, going to their sophomore year, and then they did the same internship again from their sophomore year going to their junior. So I try to find my students who have the ability, that show the interest, get them into it. But then there's some students who, you know, they have a 2.7, you know, they're an average student, but you can see some potential. And so it's like, you know, let's bring it up. And I usually show pictures from SRP where, not the research side of it, but the things we did fun, because we called it summer camp for research. And we did some summer camp stuff. Like, we really did have a retreat, the Olympics, and show them that, you know, it's about building networks and relationships so that down the line, when we have questions, so like if I have a student who wants to go to med school and become, you know, a gynecologist, I'm calling my friend Wanaki, who's down in Kansas City, because we did SRP together. She did research in health disparities, but yet I know that she has that background. So the networking opens up doors for my students to get new mentors from people that they've never met 1,000 miles away.
Right. So how many advisors are in the room right now? How many people provide advising to students in any shape, form, or fashion, be it as an academic advisor, or, you know, you just have a couple of students who kind of come and taken under, that you've kind of taken under your wing? How many people would view themselves in that type of position right now? You just quick show of hands. 1, 2, 3. A few folks. Okay. What Brandon is saying is absolutely right. That provides that type of opportunity for students to, 1, do some great networking, 2, open up other gateways and other possibilities to themselves, and possibly seeing where it is that they would like to go. I can honestly tell you, there is no way that I would have left the warm, comfortable state of Texas to move to cold, frigid Iowa had it not been for summer research programs. it's no way that I would have recruited the students that it is that I recruited to wind up staying there had it not been for the summer research programs. They really provide a great opportunity for your students to experience a diverse culture, or to have a diverse background. I mean, you guys are in what city? Baltimore?
We're Columbia. And Margaret, can you flip yourself back to the camera?
Oh, sure. How do I do that?
You should be able to tell it not to share the screen.
Oh, not to share the screen.
Welcome
Okay.
back.
Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, what I was saying, so you're probably getting a lot of urban students that we would call urban minorities and things of that nature, who probably never really left their city, really have never traveled with outside of that metropolitan area. But through this type of opportunity, they are able to go experience and to see another part of the country, or to be exposed to different types of careers, which kind of adds into diversity. A lot of times when we think of diversity, we're only thinking about it as far as racial diversity, LGBTQ diversity, and different types of social diversities, but yet diversity is such a larger umbrella, and these other types of fields can really fit into it, or these other types of ideas can really fit into it. It was nothing like having a kid come from Puerto Rico to come spend a summer in Iowa and kind of asking, where's the beach? And me kind of having to tell him, yeah, buddy, there is no beach here. It's cornfields all day long, soybean fields all day long, but there's no beach. We will not be taking any type of trip to the beach. But that did kind of diversify his world view of America, and see what it is that people in Iowa ate, and see what it is that people in Iowa would drink, like unsweet tea. That was one of the biggest cultural things that I had to get over, was not having sweet tea when I wanted it, as far as me being from the South. Let's go ahead and move back through the presentation. Yeah. So now what? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the screen sharing just for a moment. And it's really going to go ahead and bring home a lot of these ideas that we've been talking about. So now what? Is there a student that you think would benefit from this type of program? Some of y'all have already said yes. Can developing this type of program help with recruitment of minorities at your school? Y'all might have some great kids, but yet they just don't know where it is that they're trying to go. And providing this type of opportunity for them might be able to help out. Houston Community College has a thing called the Minority Male Initiative. They bring kids on campus, I think, for like 6 weeks or so during the summer, and they're engaging with them in different type of STEM activities. And at the end of that, HCC's goal is, hey, these kids are going to come back and do some type of work with us. Is that going on at your college? If not, can that be a program that you guys can implement as far as developing that pipeline with high school students? Could this program help low-performing students adjust to college? And that was something that we had talked about a little bit earlier. As far as it could have helped the young lady who was just struggling at first year of college. So these are just some thoughts, some ideas that you guys might want to think about as far as it deals with undergraduate research programs and diversity issues. So I'll go ahead and turn off the screen share, and we're back. So that's pretty much my spiel on that, my presentation. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I just have a basic question, and I'm not an advisor. Are these programs that people have to apply to?
Yes, these are application-based programs, and each application, the criteria is set by the school and set by that program. So it would just really be going online, finding one that a student is interested in, and seeing what the criteria is.
Okay. And so obviously there's the cost involved if you want to do it in another state.
So the great thing, well, I can only speak for the George Washington Carver internship program. I'm not sure about others. For us, we covered the travel for undergraduate students. High school students, they had to pay, I think, half of their plane ticket. but we covered the entire cost for undergraduate students, as well as provided them with room and board, as well as a stipend at the end of the summer.
I can say for the Committee on Institutional Cooperation, so the Big Ten schools, your travel's covered, your housing's covered at most of the institutions, your food is covered at most of them, and some of them also provide academic credit. So University of Illinois provided 6 credits of independent study for students who did research there. So
And what is the length of the typical program?
full summer.
Full all summer?
6 to 8.
8 to 12 week program. I know for us with high school students, it would be a 6-week program. For undergraduate students, it was a full 2 months.
Okay. Thank you.
So pretty much as soon as they get out of school, you got maybe 2 to 3 weeks of being able to relax and enjoy the summer, and then you're right back to work in some type of lab situation. And we also hosted social sciences, so this was not just tied or specifically for STEM programs or STEM students. This was also for social sciences.
Any other questions, y'all? Well, Marcus, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. We'll chat again soon.
No problem.
So to the committee, any other questions, any other comments for today's meeting? If you have questions for Marcus, I will make sure I have his contact information posted in the team site for us. If you do have questions about students that you've been working with, about summer research, or about just anything about this process, let me know. We can reach out and get the right connections. Every once in a while, we're going to try to have external presentations because we want you to think about what our role is here at the college and also how can we help push the college forward in areas of diversity, but also in ways that we can think about our functional areas and include diversity with it. So for me, that's graduation and transfer. So it is 1:50. I want to thank y'all for your time. It's going to be wet outside, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
I want to thank y'all for your time and attention and everything else. You guys are a great group. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Oh, and I will be able to share with you the link to this presentation because this was recorded. I forgot to tell you that at first.
Thanks.
Yeah, sorry about that.